how did Rain Man happen? How did you get christened Rain Man, or was it your own doing?
First of all, apologies for lining up late like a politician for our images. Thousands of apologies, not what it would be. But Rain Man is from the Dustin Hoffman movie of the name. It was legendary. And Zen, which is Zen Rain Man. Zen comes from the Japanese philosophy. You had to pick a name or a handle for Gmail account at some point of time. So Zen Rain Man was chosen for that. That's become a moniker just going around.
So talking about Zen
Nothing profound about it.
So let me tell you a little more about Vishwanath. I don't know how many of you follow him on Twitter, but are you a man of images? Because I see a lot of lovely images that you take, obviously linked to water, but it could be a well in a village area, or it could be a well here that you put out pictures, and I obviously like most of those images because I love images too. But are you into photography, or are you into some of that, or?
Well, yes. So first, the handle is @ZenRainMan.
Yeah, please follow it.
Follow.
Pushing
for that.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but for sure, many people ascribe the photograph's quality to the camera. I think somewhere behind the photographer as a person.
Yeah.
But I think water itself comes to be expressed so wonderfully in pictures, and when we tell a story around it. It's fascinating. I just put up a photograph 20 minutes back when I was in the auto to this place. There's a beautiful hexagonal well by a British geologist called Thomas Munn. In Kannada, Munn becomes Mannu. So the wells he digs became Manpa. So I was very interested in finding out what these Mann Bhavis were in Raichur, this thing. Then he figured out that this was a young British geologist during a time of great drought, dug 1,200 wells in the Raichur to a region, died when he was 38 or 39. Young, caught lady and dies buried in Bengaluru. But came to be called Savira Bhavi Sardar, the Sardar of 1,000 wells. And so that idea can only be portrayed in a photograph. If you put a photograph and write one line over it, you get the feeling behind the efforts being put in by people, individuals in groups.
Images obviously tell a huge story, and to that extent, I think you do a fabulous job. So do follow him, please, on Twitter and on social handles. Okay, let's get down to business now. So I think Vikram touched upon it. Everybody here knows that we're going through a crisis of some sort in Bangalore with regards to water. And obviously the cities beyond Bangalore, I mean, it's a case across the world. I read somewhere Pune is heading towards a situation like Bangalore, Mumbai is too. And so what's taking us to the edge? Is it rapid urbanization, or the favorite kind of flogging thing of climate action, climate change? What do you think is possibly the reason behind it?
It's a deadly cocktail of everything. It includes urbanization, mostly unplanned urbanization, which we see in most of our cities. Influence climate change, it influence not paying attention to rivers and not taking the river business to it, not identifying our city where the river from which the water comes in, and not managing local waters efficiently. So this sort of perfect storm in the areas these days.
And I mean, is there an example, one city that seems to have beaten it? I mean, a shining example of some, I mean, you think crosses your mind anywhere in the world?
So, from a developed world context, Singapore has cracked it because it has something called the 4 taps approach. It picks rainwater and stores it all in its catchment. It picks water from Malaysia, which it imports and brings into itself. It recycles wastewater and calls it new water and puts it back into the system. And it desalinates seawater and adds it to the mix. So with the 4 tap approach, they're able to crack it. But Singapore is 5.5 million people. That's GDP, which is way ahead of the high. There are other cities in the world, in Sydney, for example, which practices water-sensitive urban planning. There's a lot of focus on local waters, rainwater, stormwater, and groundwater. But I would also put Bangalore on top of the list. People be surprised that there's a crisis on. But what individuals and citizens and the city itself is doing is quite remarkable, and is one of the best in India. And though we struggle, it's always a trough and a peak, and we're at the trough right now. We will track it, and we've been going through these troughs since 1850.
So coming to Bangalore, and I think most of the people here in the audience would be, what's the solution to the current situation? I've been reading and hearing about your comments, but I think with the larger audience, they possibly know what could we do to get out of where we are today.
So I'd just like to draw attention to one particular incident in Bangalore's history which is not often talked about. 1876, 1877, 1878, 1876. 3 years of continuous drought. All the lakes dried up, all the wells dried up. In the old Mysore presidency as it was, 12.5 lakh people died. In the city of Bangalore alone, 1 lakh people died. The population of the city was about 1.5 to 1.6 lakhs. Imagine 90,000 deaths when people come to the city and the lakes have dried up and there's no water and there's no food and it's famine. At that point of time, the city rulers so decided that there has to be something sustainable for water, and so we implemented the Hesargata water vessel. It took us 20 years to do that. 1896, we started to get water from Hesargata. That dependency on the river far away from us has increased because once water comes in the city, population grows to absorb all the water that is there. So we went to Srikantaiah, then we went to Kaveri, and we brought water from the Kaveris with consuming and our entrepreneurship is based on that. Till the 20th century, the institutions that were created were institutions of water supply. The BWSSP was the first parastatal created in India. We recognized that water was going to have special focus and attention, and we created the BWSSP 64, right? But the thinking of the BWSSP was simply to ship water from as far away as possible. From the Kaveri, it was a remarkable engineering feat. We get the waters of 1,450 million liters of it. But the era of supply side is over. We are now in the 21st century. The 21st century challenges are social, in terms of justice, in terms of getting water to all, some water for all, and ecological. How do we manage the river basin? How do we manage the water within our city so that we have enough for ourselves, and how do we get into a circular economy? That skill set is unfortunately missing with the BWS. We don't have enough expertise on groundwater, on managing it, on treated wastewater being put back into the system, and rainwater being harvested possibly efficiently. Nothing to criticize them. All institutions evolve. This is the process of evolution. We've identified the problems and we're going to fix that problem in the coming years. But once citizens and the institutions that we create participate as part of the solution, and we create the right institutions, we have a solution. It's like chickenpox, right? So you can keep putting Band-Aid on chickenpox, or you can get a vaccination for chickenpox. We are right now putting Band-Aid on chickenpox. We need to get to the vaccination stage. And as of the guess, World Water Day, something optimistic, and a lot of people will be aghast. But this city with its waters can support a population of 41 million if it so chooses. So doomsday is here, but energy crisis is an opportunity. And we need to focus on what's integrated as the water management. We need to plan for water holistic.
Right. So just to let the audience know, I think you consult with the government of Karnataka to own.
I advise, I don't consult.
Okay.
I don't take
Advice is the right.
the moment you take consultancy, then you're cooperative.
Pardon me, I used the wrong word. It was more advice. Yeah.
But see, there's a question of not being wedded to a product or a particular solution, but to see the big picture and give a generic advice which is independent of any idea, right? Any product as such. That's important. I think we need to build a base of people like BAF does. So BAF does not have an agenda for itself, but it has an agenda for all the apartments that are here or gated communities that are here. So it's crucial that these kind of civic roles are recognized and are fostered.
Right. So since we have a lot of associations and citizens here, some of them who've done, obviously we're going to celebrate them in the next few minutes. Anything you want to tell them, anything that you'd like to tell them?
They're all pioneers. Those who are doing metering in their flats are fantastic. You're setting an example for the rest of India, right? Not just Bangalore, but for the rest of India and perhaps the developing world that those examples are being set. Rainbow Drive, when it does, what it has done remarkably is it has communitized groundwater from a private resource, converted it to a common pool resource. And then with metering and pricing, which pushed the idea of limits to water availability. Apartments are recycling water and reusing wastewater. One of them actually is drinking it. It's not here, but they're actually drinking their wastewater, blending it with fresh water. These are fantastically cutting-edge ideas, and it is a great joy. And as you and me and Sandhya, we were discussing, it's difficult to sift out the winners. There are no winners. All of them are winners. But please send your idea. This is the area of this is the era of branding. Don't just stop at doing. Talk about it proudly, and convince 10 others to do what you have done, right? But do so not preaching from the pulpit, but being a gentle converter. Don't be a proselytizer. Don't go around saying, I did it, so you do it. No. We can all do it together. That's the kind of idea that they need to sell, all of us need to sell it. And it's such joy and such fulfillment when we do good things for ourselves.
Yeah. So I was actually talking to Joseph, who's there. Joseph, you stand up. So Joseph, besides being one of our customers, is also going to win an award today. And he was just chatting up with me about what his community is doing and how they've introduced meters in their premises. Pretty outstanding stuff, e-meters, which, and I think it's outsourced, right? You have a SaaS product or something.
It's like water meter as a service.
Water meter as a service. So everybody knows they pay $90, I think, right, per month or something like that.
Keep it on monthly.
Keep it on monthly. So there are lots of innovative stuff happening all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the future. That's where it's at. All black years should, and they're pushing for it. And now there's already this guy to get it done. And I tell you that I get pretty excited about the kind of solutions that people like Joseph and the flats and everybody's moving around. Yeah, it's really good times to be around.
Right. So I think we're here to get you to give away some prizes and awards. So we make you stand on stage for a while. So, thank you, Vishwanath. We obviously